Well, it's 8 o'clock. So I think I'm going to get started, and maybe some people are going to be joining after. The topic for my presentation for today is management versus leadership. And, when we were reading the Introduction to Leadership book in the previous class, like I read a sentence that says like managers and leaders are not the same thing. And it just got my interest, so I started doing a little more research about it, and I wrote my white paper on it. Because we usually use managers and leaders like if they mean the same thing. Okay, so and again, as I said, I did like a lot of research, and a lot of people, a lot of books on leadership emphasize management and leadership are not the same. Even though like managers are sometimes like the leaders of the team, because they are thought that they are leading a team, but usually they don't have like leader-like qualities, and that is something that I've been learning throughout these courses. But they're both equally important in any organization. It can be like at your workplace or a nonprofit organization, on a sports team. I think those are very like good qualities for somebody to have. Those in the authority position, management and leadership. I guess throughout history, when I did my research, managers would always seem as having control over everything that happens in any organization. But now the studies on leadership, a lot of people are, is sparking interest on people studying more on leadership and what leaders do and what leaders, how they guide others and how they motivate others. A lot of organizations and companies are training and spending a lot of time and resources on training their managers to become leaders, so they can be more of guiding others instead of just giving direction. So have you guys ever experienced or worked for somebody that's just like telling you what to do and you really have no opportunities to provide feedback or like give your opinion of what's happening?
Yes, dominating managers.
Yes. Anybody else has like any experiences like that?
I do.
Well, yeah, and when I read this, is currently at my job, I'm an after-school program supervisor. So I work at a site. I work at an elementary school. So the principal is my supervisor, but because I work through an outside agency, I have a manager. And they both, my manager from my agency, she is very, like over directing, just telling like us what to do. In a sense, I will say like micromanagement, just constant supervision, and it's just about meeting deadlines and doing paperwork without asking for any feedback. So I wanted to start by, giving the definition of management, which is very clear. It's just, the act of managing, just directing people, directing something to get done. In the contrary, like leadership is the capacity to lead, to guide others or someone or something along the way. So a leader usually has the ability to have a vision and they're able to motivate others to believe in that vision. So some of the differences between managers versus leaders. So, managers against, because management is just about managing, and we talk about direct managing and just giving directions and orders. Just telling people what to do, like how to get it done. If you think about it in a relationship aspect, it's just like a one-way relationship. It only goes from like the top to the bottom. The manager is just telling you what to do, and the subordinates or the workers, you don't have a say, you don't have an opportunity to provide feedback or suggestions. Managers are usually really good at having a plan on how to get something done. They usually just focus on the things at hand, like the day-to-day routine, when it's to get done, deadlines, meeting goals. But they really don't focus on the people that are working for them or with them. And when something happens, like when something doesn't get done right, it's a lot of criticism and blame, judgment. And they usually use this I. If something goes well, they usually take the credit for it. It's like, I did it, it's my team, it was my plan. Leaders usually, you know, again, as I said before, they guiding. They guide people, they show people how to do something done. You know, they just don't give you orders, but they actually show you how to do it. They're willing to work side by side with people. And in a relationship aspect, it's like a two-way relationship. They will tell you something, but you have the opportunity to provide feedback. You can give suggestions. You can always tell them like, oh, I think this is like a better way to do it. Or this is how I've been doing it in the past. You know, they appreciate that people already come with some experience and some skills. And they focus on that. And they try to bring the best out in people. And again, as I say, you know, managers, they have a plan how to get something done. But leaders, they have a vision. They think about, you know, the future, what can be done like in 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. And they, again, they're like people focused. They care about their workers, they care about their subordinates, they develop those conversations, they take the time to develop relationships, they learn about others, their strengths, the areas that they need to work on, and they're willing to help them, to coach them through the process, to teach them new skills so that they can move up in their company, their organization, or any field they're working on. And they provide constructive criticism. They will tell you exactly how you can do it better next time. So people are usually more open to go and ask them for help or advice. And leaders usually talk about we. Like we as a team, like we did it, it was our project. They don't take credit for it, but they award the credit to everybody that worked on it. Again, you know, we're gonna, so some of the effects, you know, next we're gonna talk about like a little of the effects the management has versus the effects of what leadership has, and why companies are switching into making or training their managers to become leaders or use some of those qualities. So some, you know, like if you have experience, I know Brian said, and that you have experience on management, direct management, I think you can probably associate with some of these effects. I think when you have somebody always supervising your job and telling you how to do it and how to do it right, and I think sometimes I feel like they're just waiting for you to make a mistake so they can jump on your back. So, you know, it produces like high levels of stress and anxiety to the point that sometimes like you don't want to go to work, you know, because it's stressful. And sometimes you just start getting like angry and resentment towards them, that you only see them as an authority figure, but you don't develop any relationship with them. So it creates like a negative environment in the workplace where I feel like nobody feels happy or like they're not able to enjoy work. Because there is no opportunities for the subordinates or the workers to provide feedback or suggestions on how to accomplish a task, there's a lot of exclusion. I don't think like workers feel like you belong to the organization or you're part of something bigger. It's like you're just there to do the job. And a lot of these, you know, people start losing interest and they lack motivation. They don't feel motivated to come to work. They don't feel motivated to do the work, even if you're there every day, but you don't feel motivated. You probably do what you're assigned to do, but you're not willing to go the extra mile to help like anybody else because you feel like you don't get anything out of it. And also because nobody's willing to teach you or coach you, you see like you have no potential to grow in the company or the organization. You're probably just gonna be, you know, at the same place. So a lot of people, you know, they decide to leave their job. You know, like the stress is too much, like I'm not going anywhere, like I'm not learning anything new, so I'm just gonna move on and probably go and find another job. which is like a lot of people think. So when I was doing my research, I found out like in a study that they did at a university in Florida, like a lot of people say that they're willing to, they prefer to have a good boss, even if that means making less money, which I found very interesting, which I think sometimes is the case. I don't know. I see some people nodding. I know for me, it's just, feeling comfortable in your workplace is more rewarding sometimes than a paycheck. So, to reduce a lot of these effects of bad management on workers, again, like a lot of companies and organizations are spending time to move their managers to become leaders. But also we want to emphasize that not all leadership is like good leadership. So we want to train managers to have good quality of leadership. I know in the previous class we read about the different styles of management. So one that came to mind when I was doing this was the laissez-faire leadership, which sometimes is called like non-leadership, which I don't think a lot of companies wants to do that. It's like a very hands-off leadership, like I'll let you do whatever you want to do, how you want to do it. But also can cause like a lot of the same effect of management, people, if you don't give people directions on what needs to happen, like usually workers, they feel confused. They don't know what needs to happen. They don't know when it needs to happen or how to make it happen. And nobody's teaching them how to do it. So it's just the same as bad management, and sometimes it's probably worse, So when we're talking about leadership, I'm talking about, like a democratic leadership. I think it's just like finding that balance between good management and good leadership. Because management still has to happen at some level in the organization. Somebody still needs to be in charge of what needs to be done, and directing people, what needs to happen. I think it's just the way on how we say it and how we present it to others. And that's when good leadership comes in. So I think a democratic leadership style is like a well balance between the two of them. And some of the effects, of having leadership, becoming a leader instead of just being a manager, as your organization or your workplace can bring is, so workers usually they feel less stressed, they'll feel less anxious, because they feel that they can still, if a mistake happens or if they don't know how to do something, they feel that they can go to their leader and they can ask for advice, they can ask questions, like it's okay to make mistakes. They feel more happy to come to work. People who feel more happy at work, they usually are more motivated to work, so they have a better performance at their job. Also, when somebody is a leader, they actually feel people appreciated and valued. Again, a leader is people focused. They focus on their subordinates, their workers, on what their strengths are and what they can bring to the table, and they appreciate that. They know that everybody has a set of skills, and they value that set of skills. So a good leader, I think they will usually assign you something that you're already good at, something that they know you're going to be able to succeed. And if you're not able to make it happen, if you make a mistake, they're there to help you grow, to teach you how to do it better next time. And also a leader, they make like a cohesive environment, where like everybody feels happy, everybody feels like they're part of the team, like everybody is working towards a common goal. Like everybody has the same vision in mind, which is what a leader does. They're able to motivate others and to get them to believe in their vision. Like it's not just me. This is what I want to do. This is a team. This is like our effort. Like if we succeed, like we all succeed. And like if we all fail, like it's our failure. And I think just like by motivating others and just providing, those opportunities for people to grow, it usually helps with employee retention. So when somebody feels happy at their job and they feel like they belong to something bigger, like they're making an impact, like a change on something. And they also have opportunities to grow, to become better, maybe to move up in their organization. Maybe like one day they'll become managers or supervisors, like vice presidents. So they're more willing to stay at the job. Like they don't go and look for something else because they can find whatever they're looking for in there. So I think, again, like a lot of organizations and companies that are moving into training their managers to become leaders or to show leader-like qualities. And I think the big picture is when a manager does that, just management, it affects like the whole organization. It affects the whole organization, the employees, and also the manager himself or herself. If you're always losing staff because they decide to go on a different job, then you will spend a lot of time and energy just recruiting new people and hiring and interviewing and training them again. And sometimes you have to take on the extra duties because you have to, the job still has to get done. And if you don't have people to do it, then you have to take it on. And now the manager has high levels of stress, anxiety. On the opposite side, I think like when they have like a leader, like leading a team, and employees are happy and they want to stay at the job. And you're coaching them and you're training them to develop new skills. You will start delegating tasks, like that take off a little bit of your responsibilities because you're teaching others how to do it. In case you also want to move up, like somebody else is ready to take on those responsibilities. I think that's all that I wanted to say. I don't know if you guys have any questions, comments. Like I have experienced both management and leadership, and I think it really makes a difference on employees, like retention and wanting to leave the job.
It makes a huge difference. I've worked for bad managers. I've worked for laissez-faire managers. Currently, the manager I work for now is great. She's the one that pushed me to go back to school to improve myself. And one of the things that I've heard and kind of taken to heart and I'm trying to do myself is a good leader should always be training somebody to replace them. Because eventually we're all going to retire and, you want somebody to be able to take your place, and whether you retire or you move up, you should always be training somebody to be your replacement, and you want them to do as good a job as you think you do or hope you do. So that's my 2 cents.
Maybe going along with what you were saying there, Brian, I really found that so important is that a good leader never really feels like they're in competition with other people. They feel like good leaders create more leaders in the world and create more people who have a vision and can go out and they can make that vision happen. And it's not a threatening environment like, oh, somebody's gonna take over and be really good at my job. A good leader looks for ways to build everybody up and always feels like there's always room for people to continue to grow and achieve, and is proud of the people that they're able to lead. So with that, going along with your point there, Brian, which is
you want to share information, not hoard it, not hide it, not keep the knowledge to yourself so nobody else can do your job. That's not a good work environment. You want to share your knowledge. You want other people to be able to do the job so you can look at doing the next job up the ladder. So yeah, that's part of being a good leader for sure.
Yeah, and I think my experience right now, I usually have like supervisors and they're always being like very open to teach me and like new skills, and I think that's what I am what I am right now because they were always willing to teach me new skills. And right now that we have a new manager And I'm only been working with her for like maybe the last 6 months. And I've been like doing this work for like 10 years. So like I know a lot of, like what I'm doing. Like I have the skills, but I think sometimes she feels like maybe like a little threatened. That like I have more relationships with people. Oh, I know some of the resources, and I think that's when she tries to, just like manage, just direct, because I think she doesn't want to lose that power.
I think with her, I think you need to focus on teamwork and like you said, use a lot of the word we.
Yes.
We need to work together, and as a team we can get this done, and that type of stuff, and that might alleviate some of her anxiety about you trying to maybe take over her job or leapfrog her.
Yeah, maybe yes. That's a good suggestion. Thank you, Brian.
I think I really connected with what you were saying about having a manager rather than a leader, and like it affecting your enjoyment at work. My manager, well, supervisor per se, I like her a lot. I think she's great. And when she's not stressed out, it's fine. But when she gets stressed out, then it carries over to all of us, and she doesn't lead. And that's more when she's like, I need you to do this, this, and this. And it's like her job, and she's putting it on us. So it stresses us out more. And it's just like really, it's so true when you don't have a leader and you have a micromanager, and then it just totally affects your like motivation at work. And I see that happen a lot with me and my coworkers. So yeah, thanks for that point.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Using the we, putting the we back on them, to make them realize that it's a team effort. It's not just you, it's not just me, it's we. And if you just use that word, it might help in that situation. When managers are stressed, they want to get something done. They want to make things happen. But if you try and bring in the collective, everybody, well, let's all talk about this. Let's brainstorm and come up with ideas. What can we do to get this, to solve this problem? Let's have a quick meeting. Those type of things can help kind of get everybody grouped together. You're not always going to have perfect teammates or coworkers, but if you try and work as a team and be open to everybody's suggestions, it really helps to make the work go better.
I think that's a good point. I think whether you're being led or you're a leader in a situation, I think understanding that when people have difficulties in their life, which kind of I think what you're mentioning there, Hannah, was sometimes when people have personal challenges or things getting in the way, their tendency is to want to control some aspects of their life that they feel like they can control. So sometimes the work environment gets to be more of a management style because they want to feel like they've got that control, and the micromanaging and all of that comes in because they feel kind of out of control. And so it's important to remember, even if that's something maybe going on in your life when you're a leader too, showing that trust and looking at it more from a teamwork frame, that you're all in this together and you can all work together, and it's less about kind of clamping down and trying to hold on to sure that things are going to go well. Trust the people that you're working with.
Yeah, and I think what Brian said, because I do have 6 people that work under my supervision, so I try to use the we word a lot. It's like we is our program, is our like progress, like like again, like if we all succeed, then we all succeed. That's like everybody's success. And I try to be like a leader, and I try to take like, okay, I don't like how she tries to micromanage me. And I know some people they need like different skills, like I feel like I don't need to be micromanaged. And some people, they need like a little more direction, a little more close supervision. And I think like a good leader is able to make that difference, take into consideration that like other people's skills, like how much do they need from me as a leader.
Yeah, as a leader, you've got to you've got to figure out what each individual's person's strengths and weaknesses are. Some people you do need to coach more. Other times, you can let another employee just run with it. So that's one of the good things about being a leader is you've got to come up with those, who needs a pat on the back and who needs a kick in the butt.
Yes. Anybody else has any more comments or questions?
You did a very good job.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'll see you guys later.
Okay, well, bye, everybody. Thank you for joining today.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.